What's up, y'all? I'm AJ Simmons, and today I'm gonna talk about employee retention, how to keep employees long term, how to keep them happy, and the secret that I use for keeping employees happy, okay? And it's this: I pay my employees more than I pay myself. Now you have to listen to this one closely because you're going to be confused if you don't keep up with me here. Okay, you might be like, okay, why in the world would I pay an employee more than I paid myself? It's my business. I want to start a business so I can be financially free. Why would I give somebody else all of the money and make them more money than I give myself? Well, let me break it down. All right, so I'll give you two examples. Okay, the first example is with my cleaning company. Okay, so say for example, I was charging a customer $40 an hour to clean a building or a home, okay? Well, typically, if I was charging $40 an hour, then I usually would give my employee $25 of that, okay? So usually I would give them at least 20, 25, maybe even 30, depending on what type of job it was, how difficult it was, whatever the case may be, or how skilled the actual worker was, because sometimes I would hire contractors who were way more experienced than I was, and so they would become my subcontractor, okay? So that's one example of how I would pay them more than I would, is because they would get the bigger half of the money. Another way that I pay, another example of me doing this is with my lead generation service that I have today, okay? So right now, you guys know I usually charge about $125 per appointment that my company sets for you guys, right? Well, on average, my callers actually get $70 of that $125, which only leaves me with $55 of it, okay? Now, you might ask and say, okay, AJ, well, why would you do that if you're the owner? You're going to make less than the actual worker, and you're the one that invested all of the money, and you're taking all of the risk of the business. So why would you pay them more than you pay yourself? Easy, because of multiplication. If you watch my video, how to get rich cleaning office buildings, it's probably a link somewhere around here. Click one of them links, okay? And click that video, you can watch it. But I break down how basically you use multiplication instead of addition in order to build your wealth, okay? See, a lot of people, they try to add their money, okay? They try to add, like if they want to make more money, they'll get another job. And now they're trading more time for more money, or they try to, just look for more hustles, but it always requires their energy and their time. Instead, what I like to do is I like to multiply. So if I sell one $125 lead, and then I pay a caller $70 to take care of that appointment for me, and I keep the 55 passive, then guess what? Now I'm gonna go sell 1,000 more of those $125 leads, okay? Well, when I sell 1,000 more of those, that same caller cannot make an appointment for all those 1,000 different customers, okay? But what I can do is I can get maybe 10 different callers to make those 1,000 calls, okay? Now, I'm still getting $55 passive regardless of how many times I sell that, okay? But the callers, on the other hand, are only maxed out to a limited amount of how much they can get, okay? Same thing with the cleaners. That cleaner might get $35 out of the 40, or $30 out of the 40, or $25 out of the 40, up to a certain amount, because they can only clean X amount of houses or X amount of buildings per day. While me, on the other hand, I can clean unlimited amounts of houses and buildings per day. Why? Because I'm not the one that's physically doing the work. So that's why I always tell you guys, you have to build a system out of your business where it can run without you. Now you might say, okay, well, AJ, why would you say this? And you have employees or workers that might be watching this, they might feel a certain type of way. Well, because it's a win-win, okay? Because, again, I'm paying them more than I get paid out of it, okay? They're getting more than I actually get out of each particular job or each particular sale, okay? So I'm overpaying them. I always try to overpay my workers, so that way, they'll feel appreciated. I try to follow that Chick-fil-A model, okay? Because I don't know if you guys know that, but typically Chick-fil-A workers make more than the typical fast food worker. And then that's why you see they typically have better customer service, right? So that's the same model I try to follow. If I pay them well, if I treat them with respect, if I, give them paid time off when I can afford to do so, just treat them the way that a worker, that you would want to be treated if you were working for somebody else, right? And then also because I believe in abundance mindset. So I'm not afraid of, okay, well, they hear this information, now they're going to try to go start their own business. I hope so. As a matter of fact, I'll help them do that. But typically, most people just simply aren't willing to put in the actual investment amount it takes to become an entrepreneur, and they're not willing to put in the actual effort that it takes, like the actual physical work, because starting off, you're going to have to work. You can't just start off from day one and put in the system, because you're going to have to work too most of the time and learn how to do the work, okay? Now, over time, you can start to hire other people and train them how to do it, or sometimes you can hire people who are actually better than you. I can tell you now, when it came to my cleaning business, almost none of the workers, I don't think I can name one person that could clean better than me, right? Or me and my wife as a team duo. Nobody that we hire really could clean as good as we could, but they clean well enough to keep the customer satisfied. With my lead generation service, on the other hand, I can tell you now, all of my callers are probably better cold callers than I am, right? So that's why, but it's a win-win because I'm helping them by providing them with a good, stable job that pays them more than it typically would get paid somewhere else for the same job. But then also, it's a win for me because they're doing a job better than I could even do it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you find people who have those skills, or you can train somebody who doesn't have the skill, but they're willing to learn, okay? And then you just provide them with a winning situation. So that's really one of my main key secrets. Like people always say that they struggle with keeping employees long term. Well, are you paying them well enough? Okay. Are you willing to pay people more than you're willing to pay yourself out of a contract? A lot of people don't like to see 30% profit margins. Okay. Some people don't want to deal with 20% profit margins or even 10% in time, because depending on the type of building, depending on how you bid it, you might only walk away with 10%. And me personally, 10% is my minimum on any type of business deal. If I can't get at least a 10% gross profit margin on it, then I won't do it. But sometimes, depending on the job, I won't even take it if it's 30%. It all depends on the workload and if it's worth it for me at that time or not, okay? So you got to decide what's the minimum profit margin for you and your company and what you willing to accept, all right? But the most important thing is just to make sure that everything is passive and you create a system out of it, so that way it doesn't require you to work in order for it to be successful, okay? Because again, how can you sell it? You can't sell it if everything revolves around you, if you decide to sell your business one day. You can't pass it on to your kids if everything revolves around you. What if the kids can't do what you were doing, okay? Or what if, a lot of people get in these situations sometimes, and it's usually with residential cleaning customers. And they'll say, well, I can't, hire and put somebody in this house because the customer is just so attached with me and they'll kill me if it's not me. Well, you know what? Either you need to accept that they'll move on, you know what I mean? Because apparently they didn't like you as well as you thought they did. If they're willing to fire you just because you want to grow your business and get out of the field, then maybe they don't like you as well as you think that they like you, okay? So take that in consideration, all right? And then also be willing to lose them. Hey, if you got to lose that contract just because they want to be spoiled brats because you, the owner who shouldn't be out in the field anyway, if they can't have you, they want to fire you over that, then fine, fire them first. You know what I mean? Because you have to grow and you have to move on. And you can't let your loyalty to Mrs. James stop you from building your $1 million company, okay? Or your multi-million-dollar company, or your $1 billion company. I don't know what you got in store for yourself, okay? But you're never going to find out if you're steady trying to do all of the work and you're not helping other people and putting other people in position to win as well, all right? And that's another reason too why I like to pay people more than I pay myself, is because I want to see everybody win. I want to make it so that everybody can eat. If I build it only around myself and what I can do, that's not necessarily helping the way that I intended to when I first set out on this journey, okay? So make sure that you're actually out here helping people and not just figuring out how you can help yourself, okay? So don't be scared to pay people more than you pay yourself out of a particular contract, out of a particular product, or whatever the case may be, all right? That's my strategy, one of my many strategies for keeping employees long term and keeping them happy. Hopefully this video was able to make sense to you. I'm AJ Simmons. If you like this content, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you learned something from it. Or shout me out. You know what I mean? Share this video. Let somebody else know about this that's interested in entrepreneurship. Tell them to subscribe to this crazy black guy right here. He might know something about business, all right? Talk to y'all soon. Thank you.